What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome to the start of season number 6 here at Luzernack. If you missed yesterday's video, it was 2 days ago. If you missed the video 2 days ago, it was the playoff final. Make sure to go watch that before you watch this one. And yeah, I've had a bit of a rest day yesterday, played through the pre-season of this season number 6. My condition is now back above 90, and we're ready to go. So here we are. Ligue 1. This is not a league I expected to be in this situation. We have had a very interesting summer. That would probably be an understatement. We have had players on trial. We've been trying to sign players. Willian might be joining us, although the paperwork is still going through. Hernandez was a player we looked to sign, but is a good example of the kind of brick wall that we found ourselves again this year. Fundamentally, we've hit an issue where I can't offer players enough money. I think the highest earner at the club is on £8,000 right now. I had some really good experienced players who I would have loved to have signed, like Juan Hernandez, who you can see here. But ultimately, his wages that he signed for Nantes are almost double what I could even afford or even consider to offer. So with that in mind, I've been put in a situation where I've got to go with kids for the most part. I've got to go with youth. Or rather, that would have been the case until about 3 days ago, because something club changing happened 3 days ago, as you might be able to tell by the club balance here. Yeah, that looks weird, doesn't it? That looks different. Let's talk about this. 3 days before their season was due to start, a club record sale, a mammoth sale, Julien BLAISE to Napoli for 11 million. I'm going to let that sink in. 11 million. And it's a really good deal. Really good. I feel like it was always going to take a mammoth deal for me to accept this. I'll show you the terms of it on the screen now. So he's going to Napoli for 11 million. We have him on loan for the next 2 years. So he remains a Luzernack player for the next 24 months. We develop him. We continue to play him. We aren't paying any of his wages. And we also have the option in the future, when he's still at Napoli, to sign him back for £22 million. So I think that's great news. Ultimately, it raises some much needed money, which, as the summer transfer window went on, I kind of realised I don't think I can stay up with what we've got right now. And it's an unspeakably large amount of money. The only downside is I've only got about 2.7 of it to spend, and it happened 3 days before the start of the season. So it's going to be a very mad dash, you imagine, to the end of August. So here he is, Julien. I mean, he doesn't look that different. We will give him back the squad number 95. And it's a deal that opens up doors, I suppose, because as I've mentioned, we were getting outpriced for players, and it's been a bit of a problem. The good news is we've not lost anyone else. A few players going out on loan, a few players who left on freeze here. If we just look at released players, there is an ever-growing list of players released, including Willy Shinine, although it's a big although, we've signed him as a coach. So he's still around. He's got the similar Pongo treatment, I suppose. But a few legends of the team. Mutaki going out, Mori going out. I'm sure there's names here. Barane Bar, Skedato. Certainly players who have featured in the first team over the years. But as we've climbed up through the leagues, the squad was getting way too bloated. We have trimmed all the fat off it. I mean, look at the reserve team now looks like it's under control. Some of our best young players, some of whom did feature in the first team last year, have gone out on loan because they've not got the quality for this division, but they've certainly got the potential for it. And even the under-20s looks a little bare-boned by all accounts, but ultimately I wanted to, try and, I guess, what's the word, tidy up the garden. This is the garden, this reserve team. It was a mess. It was overgrown. We've got rid of all the weeds. We've got rid of all the players who were getting far too much money. And, well, that gave us a platform to go out and make some transfers. And make some transfers we certainly have. A few players who joined us who we'd already agreed to sign. Ndilu, I'm going to be honest, I don't think he's good enough for this level, but we're not paying him a great deal. He was a player we agreed to sign midway through last year, where promotion really didn't look on the cards. Louis Serre joined us from Lyon. I do like this guy. He struggled a bit last year in the National League, which is somewhat concerning, considering we are 2 leagues above that. But ultimately, a free transfer, a good left-back, perhaps the best left-back I could expect to sign right now. Certainly, some people will make a case for him to play deep line playmaker. We have way better quality there, and Football Manager just seems to have a weird issue with fullbacks. I can never find enough fullbacks in Football Manager, so he's natural at left back. That's where he's almost certainly going to play for us. And well, from there we spent some more money, and one player is someone who I think already has a fan club established without me knowing. Kenneth Oluwale joins us. You might remember this guy as the Nigerian player with a £950 release clause. He remained at Enugu Rangers for many years without an actual contract. Finally, this summer after promotion, he was interested in joining us. So we signed him. I think it's a really good deal. £750 for a player of this quality is always a bit of a no-brainer. I'm training him to play centre-back because, frankly, I think he's a way better centre-back than he'll ever be a full-back. He's got a lot of areas he does need to improve in, but he's got time to do it. He's 21, and for the price we paid, I'm kind of viewing him as a squad player whom, at least to start the season, will start right back, but I have got plans to address that with the money that's coming in from the sale of BLAISE. Anyway, a few other players who joined us, a duo of Colombians, perhaps the Carlos Tevez and Mascherano of Luzernac. The first of which is Martinez, who I suppose is the Tevez, although he's not a striker, he's an attacking midfielder, and I view him as the solution to the big dub conundrum. The only issue really is his lack of passing. I would love it to be a tiny bit better, but nevertheless brought in on a free transfer as part of this duo of Colombians joining us. He has put in some fantastic numbers for Santa Fe over the years. Found him kicking around in the under-23s. Ligue 2, we were only allowed 2 players who are non-EU. Going up a division into League, we were allowed 4 non-EU players, so we had 2 spots to fill. Immediately went, as you can imagine, to the South American youth teams, as you do, and both of these players were kicking around as Colombians in their under-23 national team who didn't have contracts. They'd been released from their clubs 6 months ago, so they were more than happy to join us on very good agreements. Paul Suarez joined us. You can see here he's a more defensively minded player, has steadily improved and put in some really good numbers actually in his most recent season with Medellin. If we just look at him here, just an incredibly hungry centre mid, and I think he is the duo to go with Kahinde. He is the man. I'm pairing them off together. I think they are going to have an immense relationship this year, and if they stay fit, these two players as a centre mid partnership are the 2 players who are going to keep us up, genuinely. I really believe that. I really like them both. They both have the media description of hard-working midfielder. They've both got exceptional work rates and great teamwork. And I think together, they're going to hopefully do magical things. That's the dream. The only downside with the 2 Colombians is they both have release clauses. Martinez's is just shy of 12 million, and Suarez's is 6.5 million. So if we do go down this year, we are at risk of losing them, but ultimately we would be netting ourselves £18 million. I think I'd manage with that, considering they're 2 players we got on frees. But 2 massive additions for the first team. A youngster who we brought in, you might remember we agreed to sign him, is Malka. He's actually been trialling at the club, generated as a free agent, the Shvetsov kind of player. He doesn't look very good, so let's move on, shall we? He doesn't look good at all. We have spent a club record fee, so whilst we've recouped 11 million, we have also spent 2 million on a player, and this was before the BLAISE deal happened. That player is Campo, and I really like Campo. I feel like we have to compare him to Kofi here for this deal to make sense. So he's a very similar player to Kofi, a year older, and I would debate a little bit better as well. He is left-footed. As you might have spotted, he can play out on the right. The sad reality is that Cyprian David, I don't think is good enough for us anymore. He is not a player who I think realistically we can rely on. And I think when you look at Campo here, he is a massive upgrade. He's a very similar player to Kofi and BLAISE. And the fact he can obviously play as a striker, play out on the right is huge. He was signed, as I said, for £2 million from Valladolid, which is not a small fee. He has got goals at every single level he has played at. He does, as you may have noticed, kind of lack, I don't want to say he lacks finishing, but it could be a bit better. As far as an inverted winger goes though, he ticks pretty much all the boxes. There's a few gaps, yes. He's 19 though. And he's left-footed. We've not had a left-footed player cutting in on the right other than Cyprian David. That might be the solution. I hope it's the solution. We've spent 2 million on him, so he really needs to, be a difference maker this year. So hopefully that's going to be the case. Anyway, a trio of experienced players joined us in the window. These were players who had slightly more reasonable wage demands than the likes of Hernandez. The first is Jorgelin, former Lyon goalkeeper, comes in just as someone who's experienced at this level at 34. Hopefully won't have to start him. Similar story with Robale, good little squad player, adds a little squad depth in the inverted winger area. He's an experienced player. He has played at this level a few years ago. Didn't wow at that level. We've got him in on a free. It's a risk-free transfer on not too big a wages for a Ligue 1 club. And the last of the experienced players we've signed is Stefan Mitrovich, who I've brought in really to be a third choice centre-back this year. He's a player who is consistent and enjoys big games. I've seen that from the scouts. Yes, his physicals are tailing off, but at 34 years old, an ambitious personality, lots of experience at this level playing in Ligue 1 for Strasbourg. He's got around a little bit, and I think for £110,000, we've got ourselves some much needed experience at this level, and actually a player who, unlike perhaps some of the other experienced players, I don't think I would hesitate to put Stefan into the first team if we absolutely needed to this year. Anyway, alongside Julien Blaise, who of course has returned on loan, we got in Thiago Cocu. I've definitely not said that correct. He has joined us from Milan. I believe he starts at Marseille. A bit of squad depth as much as anything. A good little attacking option. We're paying him £700 a week. He's on loan for a year. Again, it was a nice, easy loan to get done prior to Julien Blaise's deal being done. So you'll notice that all of the transfer dealings happened before the end of July, and I kind of felt like that was it. And it kind of got to a few days in, and I was looking around all the other teams and realising we don't have enough money to compete here. I need to see what's out there. So we did offer out Julien Blaise, which is how the £11 million bid came about. And with all that, we now have £2.7 million in transfer budget, and the wage budget is shot up by 40,000. We've essentially gained another 50% on top of what we already had. So with that in mind, I am trying to get some dealings done. I'm looking to bring in Willian, firstly as a bit of experience, but also because I think as a backup to Kahinde at deep line playmaker, he could be really, really good this year. So he looks like he could be a good little short-term deal. Hadara, I'm looking at bringing in as a backup at left-back because I do not like our left-back options. NDIA is currently our second choice left-back. I don't need to say anything more. It just makes me angry looking at NDIA's profile. Hadara, interestingly enough, is about to turn 32. He's already decided to retire at the end of the year at a very young age. I'm hoping we might be able to make him reconsider if he doesn't tail off too much. Worth noting on the out, I'm looking to loan out Zangaba just to get him some first-team football because this year he's not going to get that. We've got really good coverage at right-back, but I do think he's a possible player for the first team longer term. And I am looking at bringing in another right-back, and it's Nolan Galvez here from Sochaux. I think for 1.3 million, if we could get this deal done, it would be huge. The wages that we've offered him are, I think, £10,000 or £11,000 a week, which would make him one of the bigger earners. And whilst we do already have a few right-backs like Oluwale, as I said, I see him more as a centre-back. Whereas I look at Galvez, I look at his ability going forward, the fact he doesn't have a glaring weakness in the game. He's just turned 21, he's consistent. He's the kind of player who, even if we go down, we're going to be able to keep hold of. And I think that's something that I have really got to consider with these transfers. I don't want to bring in a load of players. I don't want to bring in too many Suarez's, too many Martinez's, the Tevez and Mascaranos of this world, who in the kind of reality, if we do go down, are just going to want to jump ship. And I kind of look at a lot of the business we've done, and I feel like we're in a position where we're kind of quite risk-free. If we stay up, fantastic. If we go down, it's not like we've built a core of a team that is going to want to flee the nest, hopefully, should we go down. I say this now, I'm waiting for in 12 months' time where Kahinde's crying and we're holding him against his will. Hopefully it doesn't come to that though. So anyway, this is how we line up for the year. I want to continue playing our positive style of play. Last year against the likes of Toulouse, against obviously Amiens in the playoff, we were able to run rampant. We're at home today, we're taking on our affiliates, and I'm feeling pretty good about things. So our team is Thomas in goal, who has signed another extension to his loan deal, so he is now here for another 2 years, which is great stuff, although I do feel like at some point we've got to consider a longer-term goalkeeping solution. Right back, Oluwale starts the fan club. The people who left comments every single episode saying, what about the right back? I expect to hear you singing and dancing all about him after today's performance. Mercier and Sunday, I have decided to keep faith with at the kind of defensive side of things, or on the defensive side of things. Mercier has a load of potential, looks really good. I think we just need to continue to give him game time and he will flourish. Sandy, on the other hand, improved a lot during last season. I feel pretty confident in saying he is good enough for this level. My only concern would really be his injury proneness and the fact that both of our centre-backs are inconsistent. I don't love that. Anyway, Luis Serre is going to play left back. Suarez and Kahinde, as I said, I'm hoping are going to hit it off in the centre of the midfield. Suarez, a real hard-working ball winner. Kahinde, a hard-working playmaker. And I think, as a double pivot, they're going to be essential in how we play. And then the front three is pretty exciting in terms of the midfielders. We've obviously got Blaise out on the left. We're going to have Campo out on the right, who I'm hoping is just going to hit the ground running and get goals. And then down the middle, we've got Martinez, who is naturally, a player who who likes to play out on the left. I think for us, though, he makes way more sense as an attacking midfielder, and that is what we are training him to do. And while there is a big expectation on Kofi this year, a player who really improved leaps and bounds, he is a little unhappy that I've not been allowing him to move. A few teams like Tottenham have been interested, but with BLAISE going out, I'm not selling both of our talismanic players. He's got a long deal now at the club. 8 years? 8 years. No, I can't count. 7 years? Wait, no. It is 8 years. I can do English. My dad's an accountant. This is embarrassing. 8 years. It just doesn't sound right to say. He's got an 8-year deal at the club. Yeah, don't intend to sell him no matter what. It's worth noting that this year, with Kofi not being as good in the air, I have got the final third instruction on low crosses. I think that's hopefully going to benefit us because we don't have that physical, imposing striker or attacking mid in Big Dub or in a Diego Costa or a Manan. But no, this is the team, and I like it. On the bench, NDIA and Mitrovich make up our defensive options. Luis Carlos, who is using one of our non-EU player spots, and I would kind of like to sell to then open up the opportunity to bring in another, is on the bench. He did not impress me last year. We signed him for peanuts, and to be fair, he gave us peanuts back. It was not a good investment in reality. Fomba also on the bench is a really good option. You know, if we have issues at centre mid, I think he's the man who is kind of in line to come in for the likes of Suarez or Kahinde. Robale, of course, a bit of experience in the wide areas. I do wonder if we've got better options in the wide areas, if it's worth just having Big Dub on the bench who can play on the right instead. You know what? I think it is. We've got so much versatility in the final third. You know, BLAISE can play either side. Campo can play on the right wing or as a striker. Martinez can play anywhere across the front three. We can really shuffle things around. So the experience is less needed, and the aerial threat of Big Dub I actually think could be kind of useful to have, to be honest, in our back pocket. Elsewhere, we've got Nuno Cruz, of course, had a tremendous ending to last year, but I just don't think he's good enough for this level. He is in the process of signing a new deal at the club, though, which is great news for us. And last but not least, it's the man with the glasses. It's Thiago Cocu, who I'm keen to give a bit of first team opportunities to, but ultimately he's kind of coming in due to the fact I couldn't afford a striker. Now that I have a little bit of money to spend, thank you, Julien BLAISE. That might be another area that we look at improving in the coming weeks before deadline day. Anyway, everyone else has played. We've got a bit of a new look team, although there's an air of familiarity about it when you look at it. Realistically, we've got 6 players who played last year starting for us: Thomas, Mercier, Sandy, Kahinde, BLAISE and Kofi. Obviously, the 2 Colombians coming in are, I think, the 2 most exciting players, quite high-profile players for our club. Campo out on the right, signed for 2 million, is going to be a player to keep an eye on. As I said, we need to give Julien BLAISE his old number. He needs the old 95 back. And, well, for Mitrovic, old folk centre-back, you can have number 28. I don't know why 20. It's just a nice number, is 28. And, well, let's do this, League. Hours of planning, hours of tinkering, hours of hunting out players has brought us here to this game. And while looking at things, they are going to play their own 4-2-3-1, although it looks like they're playing with defensive mids, which is interesting. Worth noting, they've got 5 players of their own in the starting 11, so both teams making some pretty big changes here going into this first game. It feels weird to be taken on an affiliate. I'm kind of surprised our affiliation wasn't cancelled when we got promoted to the same division. I did look through their team because I was curious if they had any players worth loaning. Ultimately, I decided that they did not. They did not wow me. But anyway, Nancy's position kind of prediction is 13th. So a mid-table team. So a result here would be a good start. And that's a pretty good bloody first highlight of the season, if I might say so myself. The ball whipped in by Kahinde, and Mercier is there. The Sochaux man, I'm always going to say that, the Sochaux man who was released without a senior appearance, came to us, knocked his old team out through the playoffs, keeping the faith in him. He's channeled his inner Hugo Robert there with that header. And against a team who, as I said, are predicted to finish 13th. They're kind of considered a mid-table team. They go behind to us early on here. And, well, Oluwale throwing it to Kofi. Now with Kahinde. Plays it down the line to Campo. Of course, left-footed. What can he do here? Looks to cut inside. What is happening? Kahinde hits the woodwork. What was the Nantes defender? Not Nantes, that's a different team. What's the Nancy defender doing there? What was that? He kind of slide tackled the ball where he could just take a touch. The pressure of playing against us is getting to them. Man, I'm so excited today, though, to see how Kahinde and Suarez play together. I feel like it's kind of unusual to have 2 centre mids who are so different. One is definitely a playmaker and one is definitely a ball-winning midfielder, but whom have great work rate and great teamwork. And I think they're just, you know, they're going to be the engine rooms in their team. Could they be, I'm trying to think of a centre mid pairing like them. I want to say the Decore and Allen, but having not seen Everton play yet at the time of recording, I don't know if that's a good analogy. That's the I'm going to go with it. Neither of them's really a playmaker, but I've said it now, so we have to go with it. Oluwale, what a tackle. I thought he'd given away a penalty, but why would I ever doubt him? Kofi holding up the ball for Campo, plays it forward to Martinez, the young Colombian, the number 10, out on his lonesome. Can he finish from an impossible angle? Of course he blooming can. Julio Martinez, wearing the number 10 shirt, stealing Big Dub's number, stealing Big Dub's thunder. But yeah, a really good goal. And Campo getting the assist, just little one-touch play down this near side, just getting in behind, using the pace. And how did he score that from there? I don't think that's his 20 flair kicking in. I'm quite excited to see what he does with 20 flair. I'm expecting lots of pointless Rabonas. Just so you know, Martinez, don't let me down. I've seen the YouTube highlight compilations of you. You better be good. And when we find ourselves 2-0 up here, we look really good. I'm very happy that in sticking to our current system, at least currently it seems to be working. I don't want to, say anything too soon, but we're looking good as Martinez wins the ball here, and he's just dribbling on through. He hits it. A little bit ambitious from range to hit it straight at Kamara, but I don't know. Things in this first half have kind of gone as good as you can expect. We have been pretty dominant without controlling the ball as much as I would like. Oluwale's completed 100% of his tackles. He's loving it at right back. Mercier's got a goal, and it's 9 shots to 3. You'd have to say it's not been a particularly close first half. I kind of want more. And I'm now sat thinking, where the hell would I spend the 2.7 million? Maybe the dealings I did weren't as bad as I thought they were. I would have loved to have gotten a few more experienced starters, but just the budget constraints we had meant I had to go with younger players who didn't want as much money because they're not established. And to be fair, the kids, they're doing all right now. I really feel like our midfield and attack are really exciting to watch. I'm using the word really a lot. I'm just really, really excited. Kehinde, find Mercier's head again. Cleared away, only as far as Kofi, who should go wide, or whips it himself. Suarez, oh my word, half volley, saved by the keeper. Not brought him in to score goals like that, the ball-winning midfielder, but not a terrible effort by any means. Clearing up to an hour gone, and I don't really know where I'd use a sub right now. We're having chance after chance after chance, it feels like. Apparently neither team's had a clear-cut chance, but, well, we've had clearly the more half chances and clearly the more replays. Right, Martinez, coming deep for the ball here, the number 10. Where's he going? He's playing it through to Kehinde. This is exciting to watch, isn't it? The way we're knocking around the ball going forward. We've got such creative and technical players. Absolutely no fear shown by Campo. Skips past 2, hits it. I mean, the dribble deserved a finish at the end of it, but this is Football Manager. So when you see that happen, no chance it's a goal. Absolutely none. But, I don't know, 17 minutes gone, and like I said, I don't know where I'd make a sub right now. Maybe I could take off Campo, maybe take off Kofi. You know what, let's give Nuno Cruz the nod. Let's see what he's made of. Blaise has been a bit quiet. I mean, that would be a turn up for the Bucks if he just ended up being really quiet, having been loaned back to us. I think given that in mind, I'm going to take him out. We're going to move Martinez out onto the left side, which is his natural position, and give Big Dub the nod. Big Dub and Nuno Cruz are two players who I don't think are good enough for this level, but I want to give them a chance. And ultimately this year, they are going to be the squad depth players, where if 1 or 2 injuries happen in the final third, they are the kind of first names that jump onto the team sheet. And, well, they've not done anything terrible here, but nothing's happened at all here. It finishes 2-0, which is a huge result. Kehinde getting man of the match. At this point, I'm not even surprised. He absolutely runs the show for us. What an incredible performance to get a 2-0 win there. Very, very happy about that. Martinez scores on his debut. As I said, his goal-scoring return for a midfielder has been pretty impressive, as have his average ratings. Hopefully that form is going to translate. But, well, it's a good result, but we really can't afford to get too carried away, as apparently Jurgen Klopp is looking at Kofi. Jurgen, mate. Jurgen. Yeah, no. I thought we had a good relationship. Look, how can you be angry at that face? You can't be. You can't be, sadly. But no, a really good result there. Just looking at our upcoming games, we don't play any of the huge teams for a little while. I do have a soft spot for Lyon, so part of me wants to do a Lyon game at some point, but that one falls in a bit of an awkward moment. I feel like right now we just need to work out where we fit in the league. Yes, we've got a good early win, but the reality is away games against Rennes and Marseille are going to be tough. And I feel like the best course of action here is to play a few games, get it under our belt, let me go away and do the transfer dealings. which I'm hoping to make a few more. I need to go out on the hunt, go out on the prowl, maybe even ask the board for a bit more money, because having less than 3 million or 11 million in the bank just doesn't seem very fair, especially with the current wages that we have. I actually think we're going to make a profit every month on balance with TV money, which is a bit of a weird situation to find ourselves in. I guess it's beneficial longer term, but I'd much rather be spending those wages instead of accumulating profits every month. But anyway, a really good opening result here. Let me know what you made of our transfer business. As I said, I am a huge fan of Martinez and also Suarez. I think they are going to be the difference makers, the two Colombians. If they stay fit, if they can hit the ground running like I hope they can, they're going to be good. Campo as well for 2 million. Not a small fee paid. I think there's big pressure on him to perform, but an assist on his debut. He's going to be learning a new position that he is natural at, or rather, he is accomplished at, but I need him to get natural at. And I don't know, I've got odd optimism for this season. I've gone from dreading things a little bit to now having 11 million in the bank and getting our first win under our belt early, which I think was always going to be a very big thing. Anyway, that is all from me today. As I said, let me know what you made of the transfer business. Thoughts, feelings, opinions, I want to see them. And I'll see you guys next time, of course. It is me, Jack. Thank you for watching, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.